Honorable Speaker, I second.
Honorable members, I now propose the question, which is that the Public Finance Management Amendment number 4 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2024, be now read a third time. I confirm that we have quorum to put the question, and I now put the question, which is that the Public Finance Management Amendment number 4 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2024, be now read a third time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Public Finance Management Act and for connected purposes.
Order number 10, motion. Report of the Committee of the Whole House on Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2024, question to be put and third reading.
Kamket, take your seat. Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 10, which is that this House do agree with the report of the Committee of the Whole House on its consideration of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2024. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2024, be now read a third time. I also request the Honorable Beatrice Alach, member for Dagoretti North, to second.
Beatrice.
I second.
Thank you. Kamket, you look restless today. Can you take your seat? Mtu ameiba ng'ombe yako? Or the other way around? Honorable members, I now propose the question, which is that the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2024, be now read a third time. We put the question. I confirm that we have quorum to put the question, which is that the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2024, be now read a third time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act and for connected purposes.
Thank you. Call out order number 11 as well.
Order number 11, the Higher Education Loans Board Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 58 of 2022, second reading, question to be put.
Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 11, which is that the Higher Education Loans Board Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 58 of 2022, be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Higher Education Loans Board Act 1995.
We go back to order number 7.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
We'll start with the request for statement by Joyce Kamene, member for Machakos County. Give Joyce the mic. Joyce, that's the problem of sitting where you never sit. They keep on flashing where you ordinarily sit. You don't have your card?
No.
Go ahead.
A request for a statement regarding the status of Mavoko Water Supply Project. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Department Committee of Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation regarding the status of Mavoko Water Supply Project. Honorable Speaker, the Mavoko Drinking Water Supply Project is an initiative financed jointly by the Government of the Republic of Kenya and the Kingdom of Belgium, in line with the national government's commitment to provision of universal, clean and safe water. The project seeks to increase the water supply capacity of 12,000 and 5,000 cubic meters per day to Mavoko and Syokimau areas respectively. Hundreds of residents who have been hoping to benefit from the project, considering the perennial water shortages in these areas, continue to face challenges owing to the incoordinate delay in the implementation of the project. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I rise for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation on the following. A report on the status of implementation of the Mavoko Drinking Water Supply Project, jointly funded by the Kenya and Belgium government. A report on the steps being taken by the ministry to ensure a completion of the project and the expected timelines for its completion. And finally, the interim measures being taken by the ministry to address the water scarcity faced by the residents and to protect them from unscrupulous water vendors. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kamene. Chair, Blue Economy, Water, Bowen. When will you bring the response?
Mr. Speaker, the Mavoko Water Project is a very important project. It has delayed for long. And Mr. Speaker, allow me to follow with the ministry and report back to the House at the beginning of next year. By February, Mr. Speaker, the first week of February, I'll bring it because it's a complex issue which has been done for years.
Next, David Kiplagat.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Request for a statement regarding the demotion and compulsory leave imposed on senior staff members at the University of Nairobi by its council. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education regarding the demotion and compulsory leave imposed on senior staff members at the University of Nairobi by the council. Honorable Speaker, I have a problem. The chairperson is not listening. He is engaged somewhere else.
Honorable Meli, that missile is aimed at you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Him can multitask.
Okay. Honorable Speaker, on 14th October 2024, the Governing Council of the University of Nairobi announced the termination of services of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Stephen Kiama. Its removal marked the culmination of a 4-year tenure, during which he often clashed with the University Council over matters such as leadership style and university reforms. These disputes are alleged to have contributed significantly to his termination as Vice Chancellor of the University of Nairobi. Following the departure and appointment of Acting Vice Chancellor, Professor Margaret Acheson, the Council, through its meeting held on 31st October and 4th November 2024, resolved to place senior staff members on compulsory leave. These actions appear to target individuals perceived as allies of the former Vice Chancellor, rather than being based on their professional performance or specific breaches to their duties. Honorable Speaker, the senior staff placed on compulsory leave of fair administrative action as enshrined in our Constitution, Employment Act Cap 226 and the Universities Act Cap 210. Furthermore, it exposes the internal wrangles of the university ranking, where it dropped for the first time to a second place in the country. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education on the following matters. One, a report on the circumstances surrounding the demotion and compulsory leave of the Director of Finance, CPA Stephen Kimeli, Director of Procurement, Mr. Dixon Lukonso, Director of Human Resource, Mrs. Chen Katune, Registrar of the Administration, Mr. Bernard Njuguna, and the Director of Facilities, Mr. Andrew Mbuku, including measures that the University Council has put in place to ensure that fair administrative action, due disciplinary process were followed. Two, a report on the circumstances surrounding the termination of the services of former Vice Chancellor Professor Stephen Kiama and steps taken to provide fair administrative action before termination. Third, steps that were taken by the Council to give prior notice and warning to the affected staff, particularly the Director of Finance, CPA Stephen Kimeli, where the Chairman of the Council signed the letter, and whether they were given an opportunity to respond to any allegations made against them. Fourth, measures taken to restore public faith in the governing council of the university, considering the apparent internal wrangles between the staff and the university council. Lastly, a report on the number of regular and special sittings held by the Council of the University of Nairobi, resolution made, and any letters asking disciplinary action against staff as resolved by the Council. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Chair Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank the member for Soy for raising that matter, because the matter is, the committee has got taste of this matter. University of Nairobi has been having a lot of wrangles of late, and I think it has been in the media, it is in everywhere. We took it up as a committee to really interrogate this issue, and I think I'll bring a comprehensive report before the House next week, Tuesday.
On Tuesday?
Tuesday, yes.
It's a matter that you must take very seriously.
In fact, that is why
this is the university.
The university. It is I'm actually an alumni of the University of Nairobi, yes. And I must take it with a lot of concern.
Rindikiri,
we solve.
hold Rindikiri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, I'm alumni of the same university, Mr. Speaker. I think that what we are seeing now, there is deteriorating of the various universities, more university, and it all starts like this. And what is happening now at the University of Nairobi, I think we should address this situation before it gets worse. Because it's not only the economic deterioration, but also the management of the institution. And this is the first university. Since independent, it has been always running smoothly. But for the last 10 years, something is wrong. Mr. Speaker, I think the alumni members who are here, including you, I think this is our serious responsibility. We should not let them go the more university way. I thank you.
Yes, Kerima, you're also from the university?
Yes, Speaker, I'm an alumni of the same. Mine is that, sincerely speaking, there is a problem with our universities as we speak. And unless and until when we remove political interference in our universities, the institutions will continue running down. For if you look at the Mbondo Management, Council of Governors, Council of University, a number of them, the people appointed there, they carry their own interest there, not the interest of the university, neither the students who are there. They don't carry public interest there. It's their own interest because they are there as a dumping site. Having lost political positions in some other areas and then just carried and be made university council members. And as for that, if you look at it clearly, they have no manifesto and they have no policy of what they want to do with the university. It's just a resting place for a number of them. And as for that, when they go, they remove the vice chancellors or the administrators who are not agreeing with them. And that's what befell Professor Kiama. And here the problem is. So I'm requesting the Committee of Education Speaker, of which also is a political body by itself because we are politicians and we cannot separate politics from ourselves. That when they're investigating the same, they should separate the idea and come up with correct reasons of why our universities are declining. It's a terrible thing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, protect me from Lindigiri. The fact that he's alumni of Nairobi University.
There is no Nairobi University.
University
the University.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mine, I rise on this ground that, Mr. Speaker, it's now a clear witness that for the last couple of months in this floor of the House, we've been discussing issues surrounding universities. One of it being Moi University, that is a university within my constituency, which is at ICU now. The other day we were talking of Egerton University. Some works are going around also. Jomo Kenyatta is also facing some challenges. Then, Mr. Speaker, I think it is high time I would request you give direction to the ministry to begin to relook at the charter of universities and how the universities are being managed. It is high time we reevaluate the management and the councils of the university so that we have a clear people with a clear mind, a clear vision of looking back at our institutions so that we're able to protect our institutions. Else we are losing the glory where Kenyan education was regarded in the entire Africa and even the whole world as the best education, and it could produce technical people that can be relied upon. But with these current management issues, the way it is going, I fear that the quality of our higher education, Mr. Speaker, is coming down drastically. I would want to request that you give direction that the ministry need to give a firm position on what are they going to do, what they intend to do, the plans and policies they are putting in place to safeguard our institutions.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much.
Oundo, the last one on that.
Thank you, Speaker. Let me also confess that I'm an alumni of the University of Nairobi.
Very good.
Second, I must also go on record that before I came here, I was a staff member of the University of Nairobi as a lecturer. Honorable Speaker, I think the problem we are facing is not unique to the University of Nairobi. It seems to be a cross-cutting issue throughout the country. And my feeling and my opinion is that it's a governance issue. We might have to relook at the Universities Act, look at all other institutions that governs the university. Because honestly speaking, I really cannot understand why there should be wrangles between transition from one vice chancellor to another. I do not understand why simple administrative issues about dealing with the staff should even become an issue that needs to be brought to the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, I want to invite the chair of the Education Committee. Probably during this long recess, you could ask the indulgence of the Speaker to allow you probably 1 week. Call the vice chancellors, call the council chairs, call some students, just reflect. At the end of the day, we will be able to have our solution. Honorable Speaker, there is a working party, presidential working party on the education reforms. They have an extensive discourse on the issue of the university. Pick that report and let it be your sole responsibility, your new area solution, that you must solve the issues bedeviling university administration, governance, management issue before the end of the next calendar year. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, merely Tuesday, you bring a serious, comprehensive statement.
I will, Mr. Speaker. I think the issues that are there are quite big and they are quite historical. And this House, a number of those issues I agree with the Honorable Unda and the members, are administrative, governance, financial, and it runs across from the time when we...
You bring the statement.
So I'll bring the statement.
It pains us to see
that
our university,
in fact,
the Vice Chancellor is sacked every week.
That is it.
That is not how to run a university.
And the chairman of the council is even signing letters to sack workers and even to employ. It's very wrong.
You must resolve this. Honorable Yusuf Farah. Honorable Farah, statement dropped. Pardon? Hold your horses first. Response to a statement. Honorable Protas Akuja is in the house. Protas Akuja. Social protection. Alice, the questioner is not here. So we'll defer the question response to Tuesday morning. Majority Leader. Pardon? Where's the Majority Leader?
He has just stepped out.
Okay. Oundo, what is your point of order?
I know you have mentioned about us passing bills here in the National Assembly and going outside there and saying we do not even know what we passed here. But that's a story for another day. But now, Honorable Speaker, sometimes in the middle of this year, we passed amendment in the Independent Electoral and Commission Boundaries Act, some IBC Act. And it was the expectation of the people of Kenya that before we go for Christmas, or sometimes earlier, we would have a new commission in place where I've got all the commissioners, it's functioning. Honorable Speaker, I thought I would get the chairman of JLAC here today. He's a studious member of this house, but unfortunately he's not here. But this is a house in perpetuity. I just wanted to find out what's the status of appointment or appointment of commissioners of IBC.
Thank you, Honorable Undo. Honorable Undo, it's not even within the jurisdiction of JLAC anymore. JLAC finished their work. The matter came to the commission. It is the appointing, the recommending authority for appointment. All the nominating bodies, LSK nominated, Parliament through PSC nominated, religious bodies nominated, ISPAC nominated. Then we came to the political parties liaison committee to which your party and the party across the floor belongs. And the third arm are parties unrepresented in this house. They have been playing ping pong in court until today. I even wrote a letter to His Excellency the President advising him to gazette. Before the letter left my office to OP, there was a court order. There was a court order by people, two people, one called Muli, another one called Muli. Yes, Muli a female, Muli a male. They are the ones who are fighting in court. I think there's a judgment coming tomorrow or Monday. If those orders are discharged, His Excellency the President will gazette the panel the next day. And once the panel is gazetted, we'll move in earnest to ensure that they advertise, they get the long list, reduce to the short list, interview, and bring forward the names to this House for approval of the IEBC. It is dangerous for the country to go without an IEBC. I agree with you. Shinali? Yeah. Shinali?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, I rise to pay tribute to Mr. Absalom Castro Wendo. Mr. Speaker, it is with profound sorrow that I rise to pay tribute to Mr. Absalom Castro Wendo, a son of Ikolomani constituency, who served this House diligently as a sergeant of arms. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Wendo was awarded the Head of State Commendation from the late President Mwai Kibaki in 2010 for his exemplary work and unwavering devotion to duty in the National Assembly. For many decades, Wendo's voice was roaring in this chamber as an icon for the Speaker's procession making way to the House at the commencement of the House business. While serving Parliament, Mr. Wendo jealously cutted the rules and traditions of the House and was a strong builder to Parliament's institution's memory until his retirement in 2010. He rose through the ranks and left as a commissioner or assistant sergeant at arms. Having served many sessions of Parliament, his hard work and legacy will inspire many generations to come. He carried on his duty to the inaugural session of Bungoma County Assembly for the years 2013-2017, Mr. Speaker. I want to extend my heartfelt condolences to the family, friends, former colleagues both in the National Assembly and the County Assembly of Bungoma, and the people of Ikolomani, Bungoma, and Kakamega County as they come to terms with this massive loss. Mr. Speaker, it is only on Saturday that we buried Mr. Wendo's father, Mzee Muyeya. And the same day at night, we lost Castro Wendo. May God rest his soul in eternal life. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Eternal peace. Thank you, Shinali. I think among us here, the only person who probably would know Wendo is Kainan and a few others. Wendo was a colossus in this house, very commanding, and he was always the one clearing the way for the Speaker to come to the chamber. A very good man. When devolution came, he was seconded to establish the County Assembly of Bungoma, where he worked for 5 years. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Yes, Mwenje?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to refer you to Article 27 and Article 38 of our Constitution. Article 27, which provides for freedom of discrimination, especially on ethnicity.
Freedom against discrimination or freedom of discrimination?
Equality of freedom from discrimination. on Article 38 that protects political rights, Honorable Speaker, allow me to just quote one of 38.2, which says, every citizen has the right to free, fair, and regular elections based on universal suffrage and the free expression of the will of the electors for A, any elective body.
Article number?
38.2A.
Go on.
Which provides, sorry, I'll just start again. Every citizen has the right to free, fair, and regular elections based on universal suffrage and the free expression of the will of the electors for any elective public body or office established under this Constitution. Honorable Speaker, the reason I want to bring this matter to your attention and to the attention of the House, there's a video, Honorable Speaker, we've been seeing going around in the social media regarding a specific religious leader speaking on an issue that touches on certain areas, and more specifically Lamu, where he specifically mentions that a certain community or people from a certain ethnic community should not vie for seats in such an area. Honorable Speaker, the reason I'm bringing this to your attention, those of us who represent metropolitan constituencies, such as myself, where we have all the communities, it creates a lot of tension that is unnecessary. Right now, in that specific video, this specific religious leader mentions the Kikuyu community of not being, that they should not vie in a specific area. Honorable Speaker, you'll know that we've seen since the inception of our constitution, where even Kibaki, who was once elected in Nairobi, moved to a different area. We've seen even the former member for Dagoretti North move to a different area. In fact, even in Embakasi, the last member of the larger Embakasi went to vie in Kiambu, and that's the trend, Honorable Speaker. We have members of minority communities being elected where there's another dominant community in that various area. So, Honorable Speaker, I believe this is a matter of grave attention, which requires the Cohesion Committee to advise what is the action that is being taken against this specific leader. And more importantly, Honorable Speaker, we would want even the leader of majority, leader of minority to reassure the citizens of our country that everybody has a right to vie where they want to vie, and nobody should be discriminated based on ethnicity or any other form of discrimination that might be taken upon. So, Honorable Speaker, to me, this is a grave issue from my constituency, and I can tell you, it has caused some serious tensions from some of our metropolitan constituencies. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Deputy Speaker.
I stand on a point of information to the Honourable Member that actually we have an independent constitutional commission to deal with those kind of complaints. So the easiest thing is just to go and report to NCIC. The person will be prosecuted. They'll investigate and the person will be prosecuted. Because we have seen NIC in the past, they used to actually even arrest people at night. If you remember the story of Linturi, when he spoke in Eldoret and made a remark that was construed to be that, even though it was wrongly done, he was arrested in the middle of the night from Eldoret and brought to Nairobi to be charged. So we should tell NCIC to do their work. In fact, they should have taken immediate note of it and acted. So in fact, NCIC has failed Kenya. The only time they were active is during the last elections, because they were working for the previous regime and they were arresting people. If you remember, Honorable Oscar Sudi was arrested for describing women's mammary glands, and he was arrested. It was not even a cohesion issue. So on this one, I think the committee should not deal with it. They should simply summon NCIC. Thank God their term is ending because they have failed Kenyans, led by Reverend Kobia, who's the biggest failure. So it is them who are not doing their job. We should be asking NCIC to do their job.
Honorable Mwenje, what you should do so that we don't escalate, if you can provide the clip, the speaker has not seen it yet. If you can provide the clip to the clerks at the table, I will look at it tomorrow or over the weekend, and on Monday I can give direction. But for avoidance of doubt, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 enjoins every citizen and any citizen to live anywhere on the territory of Kenya, to own property, transact business, make friends, marry who they want, and live where they want, without any discrimination of any sort, and anybody who does that violates the Constitution. So get the clip, I'll give direction. Thank you. Majority Leader.
On my statement. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was hoping it's on my statement, although if I could also just add on that, Honorable Speaker, I have actually viewed that clip. I don't know whether the gentleman on the clip is an actual religious leader or just draped in Islamic religious clothing, but what he was saying is very unfortunate, and NCIC, I want to agree with the Deputy Speaker, NCIC has indeed failed this country, because that person, the kind of things he was saying is not just against a community, but also against religions, especially the Christians living in Lamu and the coastal region. And Honorable Speaker, I do hope the Honorable Mwenja will be able to furnish your office with that clip so that you may issue the necessary directives, especially to NCIC, DCI, and the Inspector General of Police. That gentleman should be answering in court, not being discussed in the National Assembly. I think you feel very sweet being discussed by the August House. Honorable Speaker, allow me to read the Thursday statement on behalf of the House Business Committee pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44.2a. On behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Monday, 25th November 2024, to prioritize business for consideration during this week. As members will recall, last week the House adopted a motion resolving to hold additional sittings for purposes of considering priority business ahead of the long recess. I therefore want to urge committees to expedite any pending business to enable its conclusion. I also encourage members not to tire in attending the plenary sessions, some of which are extended, so that the House concludes with all that it needs to finish with before we commence the long recess at the end of next week. Honorable Speaker, members will note that today and tomorrow's sittings are dedicated to consideration of individual members' business. Therefore, I urge members to be present and ready to prosecute their business. Further, with regards to business schedule for tomorrow, Friday, 29th November 2024, the House is expected to consider the following bills at various stages, if not concluded today. One is Committee of the Whole House on the County Government Revenue Raising Process Bill of 2023 and the Cooperative Bill 2024. Two is the second reading of the following bills: the Higher Education Loans Board Amendment Bill number 22 of 2022. I believe this is a bill by Honorable Joyce Kamene. That's why I'm saying we have allocated time this afternoon and tomorrow, because many of these bills were due to lapse at the end of this session. Therefore, members will appreciate that the House Business Committee did consider even private members' bills, not just government bills, to be prioritized so that they do not lapse. Two is a political parties bill, Amendment Bill of 2022. C, the Equalization Fund Administration Bill, Senate Bill number 14 of 2023. D is a Public Finance Management Amendment Bill of 2022. Honorable Speaker, if you note, all these are either private members' bills or committee bills. And the Universities Amendment Bill of 2023 and the National Police Service Commission Amendment Bill of 2024. Additionally, Honorable Speaker, debate will also be undertaken on the following motions, should they not be concluded today. One, consideration of reports on financial statements of state corporations in Nyanza region. Two, consideration of agreement on the establishment of the Global Green Growth Institute, GGGI. Three, report on the alleged unfair trade practices by foreign investors in Kenya. Four, third report on consideration of the audited accounts of specified state corporations. Five, report of the extraordinary session of the 6th Pan-African Parliament. And six, report on the performance audit report on the provision of services to persons with disabilities by the National Council for Persons with Disability. Honorable Speaker, with regards to business scheduled for Monday next week, the House is expected to consider second reading of the following bills, some of which are listed in today's order paper. One is the Business Laws Amendment Bill of 2024. Two, the Tax Procedures Amendment number 2 Bill of 2024. 3 is the Higher Education Loans Board Amendment Bill of 2022. 4 is the Political Parties Amendment Bill of 2022. 5, the Equalization Fund Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 14 of 2023. 6, the Universities Amendment Bill of 2023. And 7, the National Police Service Commission Amendment Bill of 2024. Additionally, Honorable Speaker, debate will also be undertaken on the following motions, should they not be concluded tomorrow. 1, consideration of reports on financial statements of state corporations in Nyanza region. 2, consideration of agreement on the establishment of the Global Green Growth Institute, GGGI. 3, report on the alleged unfair trade practices by foreign investors in Kenya. 4, third report on consideration of the audited accounts of specified state corporation. 5, report of the extraordinary session of the 6th Pan-African Parliament, PAP. And 6, report on the performance audit reports on the provision of services to persons with disabilities by the National Council for Persons with Disabilities. Honorable Speaker, with regards to attendance of Cabinet Secretaries to answer to questions in plenary, I wish to inform the House that due to priority business scheduled for next week, the Cabinet Secretaries that were slotted to appear on Wednesday, 4th December 2024, have been rescheduled to a later date. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, the House Business Committee shall reconvene again on Monday, 2nd December, to schedule business for the rest of that week. I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House. Honorable Speaker, just to reiterate again that there are quite a number of private members' bills that the House Business Committee did prioritize for consideration so that we save them from lapsing at the end of next week when we proceed on recess. Also to remind members that we have a sitting which we expect the Honorable Aluke to be present on Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning and afternoon. And Honorable Speaker, when we meet for the House business next week on Monday, the committee will review whether there will be need for any additional sittings to be able to expedite with all the priority business that has been scheduled. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
And remind members to get on the SGR on the 6th morning. Yes.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for that reminder. We are prioritizing this business, and even tomorrow, Honorable Aluke, Honorable Member for Kandui, tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m., there is a sitting, and we expect that you'll be there representing the people of Bungoma. When we finish with this priority business, members, on the 6th of December, as the Speaker has indicated, at 6 a.m., the SGR train to Mombasa will be leaving, and you are all expected to be accompanying the Honorable Speaker on the SGR ride to Mombasa for the Iala Games. Both those who are in the teams, those who are in the dancing team like Millie Odhiambo, and those in the cheering team like Junet Mohammed.
Junet?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to seek your indulgence on a matter, Mr. Speaker, that is of importance, Mr. Speaker. Very high importance, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Parliament has been under attack, Mr. Speaker, for quite some time now. From certain quarters, Mr. Speaker, the religious leaders and other groups, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are not here by accident. We are not members of Parliament by accident, Mr. Speaker. We were elected by the people of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, some of the positions that are sought after in this country, Mr. Speaker, is to be a member of Parliament. Including religious leaders, contest for these positions, Mr. Speaker. During the elections, every constituency has a minimum of 10 to 15 aspirants, Mr. Speaker. Minimum. Some more, 20, 30.
There is one in Kisii that had 45 candidates.
You can see, Mr. Speaker, you are right. One in Kisii had 45. But Mr. Speaker, you cannot bastardize a position that has been given by the Constitution and people donating their sovereignty to them, Mr. Speaker, and you say that Parliament is useless, Parliament is captured, Parliament is this and that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just now, this afternoon, this sitting where we are today, We have just passed almost 5 bills, Mr. Speaker, that you read the third reading.
Very important.
Very important bills. Bills on higher education, bills on finance, Public Finance Management Act. All those bills, Mr. Speaker, are being passed in this House to make the lives of the citizens of this country better, to help the governance of this country, to make the things easier for the Kenyans so that they can get services from the executive, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I feel very, very bad when I see members taking, Parliament a joke. Mr. Speaker, Parliament is a very sacred place. It's not a small place, Mr. Speaker. But if there is no Parliament, there is no country. Because there is no taxation without Parliament. Even the executive cannot collect any money, Mr. Speaker, without Parliament. There is no democracy, as the KG has put it. Mr. Speaker, it has become now a fashion that people just stand on a queue, look for the media and say, oh, Parliament has failed, Parliament, without pinpointing and telling us what have we failed in. What is this that you expected of us that we have not done, Mr. Speaker? You must hold people accountable with facts and not to generalize and just say, I have been in this Parliament long enough. If you are not happy with other aspects of governance, don't throw it to Parliament, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
And then also, you cannot blame members of Parliament who come from the ruling party why they are supporting their government. Yes. People have been elected on parties.
Yes.
People went to be elected on Kenya Kwanza, others went to be elected on Azimio, others went to ODM. Mr. Speaker, you cannot blame a member of Parliament from the ruling party. Why is he supporting his government? He made a decision in 2022 to run on that party and to support that government. Mr. Speaker, this is the place we need to speak. If the church can speak in the church, we will also speak in Parliament. No, that's the truth of the matter. We are going to speak here. Everybody has a mouth to say, and everybody has a forum to talk. If there is no mutual respect, leadership must be respected. We are speaking on behalf of people. Every member of Parliament here has been given mandate by people. Nobody is here invited. Nobody has come here under the invitation of anyone here. Everyone has been elected. Some of the members here, like the women reps, have come here with over 400,000 votes. It's not a joke, Mr. Speaker. People don't know how difficult it is to convince 400,000 people to vote for you. People don't know that, Mr. Speaker. People don't know how difficult it is to wake up people at 5 a.m. in the morning to queue so that they can vote for you, Mr. Speaker. People don't know that. We respect our religious leaders. We respect them so much because they are the people who guide us spiritually. But Mr. Speaker, politics is different from religion. Completely different. If you think there is an issue that you are not happy with, as a leader of another sector, a religious leader, or even whichever leadership you have, address members of Parliament with dignity and decorum. Don't belittle them. Don't make it as though they are nobodies. Mr. Speaker, these are serious people who are passing laws in this House. Laws that are going to be used to govern you yourself who are attacking them on TV. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to ask members here to stand up for their rights. The only institution that does not have a union is Parliament. Other institutions are defended by the unions, Mr. Speaker. We have now to become 416 union members here. And especially people like attacking the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, this National Assembly has passed under your leadership for the last 2 years over 100 bills, which have been assented to by the President, which have become laws, which are helping the country. So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to say, let us rise up for our rights. We are not going to accept this now lying down. We are going to stand up for our rights, and we are going to become the union leaders. As the minority leader, as the majority leader, now we are going to become union leaders of Parliament, Mr. Speaker. And we will defend, because institutions of governance must be respected. And Parliament is one of those institutions. Parliament has been created by the Constitution. So if we don't respect our institutions, how do we respect the mosque? How do we respect the church? If we're not respecting the institution that is used for governance. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge people outside there to be respectful. Otherwise, you will know why chicken doesn't have milk. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, I will allow you, but I also want to point out the leadership of this House, including Majority Leader, Junet, my able deputy, the whips, the chairman and chairpersons of committees. We assembled in Naivasha for a meeting, a round-table meeting with KEPSA and a meeting of leadership. And one newspaper with wide circulation 2 days ago had a screaming headline that the Speaker of the National Assembly had said that members were stealing money from their bodyguards. And they were purporting to quote the outcome of the meeting where both Junet, Mwenje, Ichungwa, and all of you, Alice, you are. They were even purporting to quote some 3 members of this House as the source of information, even went on to write an editorial to call members every inconceivable name, greedy, and all sorts of things. Far from the truth, because in Chungwa, you know, we were in Naivasha, and there was no discussion of any sort about members. And yours truly here will be the last person to bastardize members of this House, having been here for as many as you can remember. So Junet is right. The Speaker is leaving the chair for another urgent meeting. My able deputy will take the chair and allow members to make comments on that important issue. Deputy Speaker, you can take the chair. Majority Leader, you can have a go. Osoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also rise to support the sentiments and the concerns as raised by the Honorable Junet Mohammed. Honorable Speaker, it is very sad that this House has actually been turned as a punching bag, and people demonize everything about this House. That where we pass laws that pertain to the common mind, Honorable Speaker, and that is exactly what we do, which we actually do very, very well every day, and sometimes sitting up to late into the night, Honorable Speaker, the media and even the members of the clergy do not raise concerns. They do not talk about it. But on the issue that touches on the executive, you hear them say that, you know, we haven't had anybody, you know, speak about it in the National Assembly or in the floor of the House, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we implore on the members of the public and even the members of the clergy to be watching proceedings of this House. There is no matter of national importance that hasn't passed through this floor, Honorable Speaker, and that hasn't been spoken to, Honorable Speaker. But it is so sad that even on matters that touch on the public concerns, the issues that are so direct to the public people, like today, Honorable Speaker, we are faced with femicide, Honorable Speaker, where women are being killed and young girls are being killed all over. You have not heard the church speak about it, Honorable Speaker. You've not heard the clergy utter a single word about it, Honorable Speaker. I mean, really. But if it was an issue, Honorable Speaker, that touches on the members of the parliament, this House has even created a platform where we are raising concerns about the femicide. We expect the members of the clergy, Honorable Speaker, who are leaders also, to give us accolades and appreciate us and say, at least this House is doing 1, 2, 3 on matters that are, pertain, matters that are affecting the women of this country, Honorable Speaker. But they are not saying, Honorable Speaker, that. I want to invite the members of the clergy in particular, Honorable Speaker, to the good book that they teach. Because as a good student of the good book, as a person that went through the Sunday school, right from age 3, Honorable Speaker, to date, I have read the good book in the book of Romans chapter 13, that there is no leadership on earth that has not been placed by God. I mean, which God is that you tell us to preach when you can't respect the God that has placed the leadership, Honorable Speaker? That we only matter, Honorable Speaker, sometimes when we go to the church. If you ask any member of the parliament, Honorable Speaker, their booths or their offices are full of cards, Honorable Speaker, invitation cards for fundraising, Honorable Speaker. It is shocking. At one point, Honorable Speaker, I attended one church along Nairobi, Honorable Speaker, somewhere here with the former deputy president, who is now the president. And Honorable Speaker, they denied members or the leadership, the members of parliament to speak. But immediately we finished, they gave us a bill of 6 million, a need of 6 million, Honorable Speaker. Is our importance, very important to the extent of our contributions, Honorable Speaker, honestly. And when such contributions are made, Honorable Speaker, even upon their request, then they go out there to play with the public gallery and say we do not need members, or leadership to contribute, Honorable Speaker. This is sad. And like Honorable Majority Leader said the other day, even the members of the clergy that said they want to return the funds, and Honorable Majority Leader will speak after me, they have not actualized, they have not refunded the funds, Honorable Speaker. To date, they have not said, okay, fine, this is the check that we said, this is the check, take it back, build. Because we'll build. We want to confine ourselves, Honorable Speaker. We want to confine ourselves, Honorable Speaker, to the good book again. In the book of Haggai, chapter 1, Honorable Speaker, verse 7, that we go up to the mountain and pick the trees so that you can build the church of God. You will not gag me from contributing in building the house of God because you don't like my political views, Honorable Speaker. This thing of making politicians demonized. We are demonized, Honorable Speaker, in the banks. When you go to open a bank account, you are referred as a PEP, politically exposed person, that you've got to declare that. If you are doing somewhere in business, they say, you're a politician, you will need to declare interest. When you go for if you lose your seat and you go for an interview, then you're told, you're a politically exposed person, you need to be. In any case, Honorable Speaker, we should actually be applauded. A person leading a county or a constituency with 100,000 voters, Honorable Speaker, that is an experienced manager that needs to be a manager and a CEO of Equity Bank, Honorable Speaker, which only has got an employee portfolio of 2,000 people, Honorable Speaker, or 3,000. But what happens? You lose your seat, or you are out of politics, or you appear like you've been politically inclined to some place which is again within the law under Article 37, the rights of association. You are demonized, you are insulted, you go out there, people believe that you are taking their money. What is with this obsession of a person thinking that somebody is poor because somebody else is rich? Why can't you just, why can't you just respect other people's rights like you want the others to respect you, Honorable Speaker? What we are saying, Honorable Speaker, that we must learn to embrace divergent views. You have your view as a member of the clergy. I have my view. You have your view as a person from the media or the media for the state. I have my view. The divergence of views is not wrong, and that makes it democracy. We all can't think the same way. Stop demonizing members of parliament and particularly members of the National Assembly. And when you have a challenge, you want to rush to us. Anytime you have a challenge, members of parliament. When I pass through the streets, Mheshimiwa, Mheshimiwa. When I go everywhere, Mheshimiwa. When I go to Mheshimiwa. But when I come, when people go there somewhere in the media, Honorable Speaker, they insult us, Honorable Speaker. So please.
Let's give other members a chance.
Yeah, as I conclude, I want to conclude, Honorable Speaker, and say people should respect this house, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much.
Let me give, okay. I'll come to you.
Mike. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me first thank the Honorable Junet for raising this issue. Because, Honorable Speaker, at times we are afraid to speak for ourselves because we'll be seen to be fighting the church or religious leaders. And let me thank Honorable Junet because the issue he has raised is not an issue where he's raising an issue that is fighting anybody, but rather fighting for ourselves as members of parliament. Honorable Speaker, if you can protect me from the member for Kericho, who is conversing in Kalenjin in the house. The book of Hebrews, Honorable Speaker, 13:16 says, but to do good and to communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices God is pleased. Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. That is the word of the Lord. And that word, Honorable Speaker, is the word I would like to remind our religious leaders, including my own moderator of the Presbyterian Church, the Reverend Thegu, whom I saw last night on TV admonishing this house that this house is captured, that when the executive wants us to pass bills, we pass them with lightning speed. Of course we pass them with lightning speed because that is what the people elected us to do. And we do that because we are actualizing the manifesto of what we sold to the people of Kenya, because we want to remain true to the people and to God. Therefore, because you are my moderator, you cannot admonish me simply because you hail from Nyeri and you think the impeachment process moved with speed. That speed is what is expected of us under the Constitution. The Constitution gives us timelines as to when and how you prosecute an impeachment process. And let me say, Honorable Speaker, because the Honorable Juneta has done good to raise this issue, we must not be afraid to tell our religious leaders that even when we do good, as the book of Hebrews tells us, when we give in church, we do not give in church to please the bishop, the moderator, the reverend, not even the church members, the congregations in our churches. We do it because the good book in the Bible tells us, do good and communicate because it is pleasing to God. I never go to church to please my bishop. I never go to church to please my moderator. I neither go to church to satisfy the whims of my reverend. I go to church and do what I do because it is pleasing to my God, and we shall continue to do it. And if our religious class imagines they can intimidate us, I have never walked into a church, Honorable Speaker, and asked a single religious leader to give me an opportunity to speak to church. I am glad I patronize a church that's not one of the mainstream churches in Nairobi, together with the member for Kiminini, the Honorable Kakai Bisau. And we go there and we sit in church, we listen to the sermon, and we leave. We never seek anybody to give us an opportunity to address the congregation. When they are fundraising in church, I have never seen a single politician invite himself to a fundraising in church. But the church leaders must not make it look like we invite ourselves to churches to contribute money. We have many other places we can take this money. Honorable Speaker, it is true what the majority whip is saying. I accompanied the president to Soweto, the Catholic Church in Soweto, in Embakasi East. When we sat to have a cup of tea with the church leadership of that church. They are the ones who sought the president's help and our help, together with that of the governor for Nairobi, to build a house for the father. They also sought help with the road. That road to Soweto has already been advertised in the papers for its rehabilitation. When I saw the Archbishop of the Catholic Church, with all due respect to the Archbishop of the Catholic Church, write a letter that they will return some money to the president, I can confirm to the country and to this house, not a shilling, not a cent has been returned to the president. And when it is returned, there are hundreds of churches who have sent me messages and are sending the president messages. They are waiting for the money to be returned. They are willing to receive the money to do the work of God, because it is pleasing to God, not to man, not to the bishop, not to the archbishop. Honorable Speaker, respect is earned, and it is two-way. We respect our church leaders, and they must earn that respect. If you speak at me, I'll speak back at you. If you respect me, I will respect you back. Honorable Speaker, I had my own moderator of the Presbyterian Church yesterday say things that I would not expect a church leader to say and speak of leaders. Because, again, if you read the book of Romans, it calls Romans 13, I think verse 1 to 4.
It calls on everybody to obey authority because there is no authority that is not ordained by God himself. God is not the religious leaders. God anoints religious leaders to serve his people. God anoints political leaders and other secular leaders to lead his people. And we all serve the same people. Therefore, I know we all come from backgrounds. And I know some of these religious leaders have issues because of where they come from. But they must divorce their personal feelings from their church work. At times there are things I also want to say because based on where I come from. But I remember I am a leader in this country, a national leader. There are certain things I cannot say or do as a leader. I want to call for that wisdom from our religious leaders. I want to call for them to respect authority as commanded in the Bible. I want them to help this country. Some of the issues that I see them pointing fingers to government on are issues of morality, are issues that they should be dealing with in society. Be it femicide, be it the growing trend of LGBTQs and everything, Honorable Speaker. Be it issues touching on corruption.
Actually, it's headed by a bishop. Yes, it's headed by a bishop.
I hear a member saying even the anti-corruption, ethics and anti-corruption commission is headed by a bishop. Yes. And a good bishop for that matter, and we wish him well. But all these societal challenges are challenges of society that we must address them together as leaders. Both the political leadership and church leadership, or religious leaders, not just church, even our Muslim leaders. And I want to ask our leadership to work together. We cannot deal with the issues that we have seen, the challenges we have seen with femicide, challenges with our children, without working together. Honorable Speaker, our schools, if there is some moral decadence, it begins from our schools. Many of our schools are sponsored by churches. And even public schools, we have made effort in numerous public schools to be under the sponsorship of churches under the chaplaincy of churches. But that is where the rains are starting to beat us. The only reason you see men doing the kind of bad things they are doing to young girls is because there is something we lost in our moral upbringing. Not just as men, but as a society. But that is the work of the church. Where is the church? I do not see the church in those issues. The church now is more in politics than anything else, and we welcome them to politics. Indeed, this house that they are admonishing has elected bishops and reverends and others nominated, like Bishop Kosgei. Canon Naomi of the Anglican Church is a deputy whip who whips members to come and vote for bills because that is what they are elected to do. Therefore, let me just thank Honorable Junet, Honorable Speaker, but with tremendous respect, ask our church leaders. When you point a finger at a leader, look at the four that are pointing at yourself. When you admonish corruption, don't just talk about the fight against corruption, practice it. It cannot be that my money when I was a business person, and I am still a business person, was not corrupt money, but when I'm elected as a member of parliament, now I am told this is corrupt money. Can't be. You know, it is so interesting, Honorable Speaker, that they are now even choosing which political leader to speak, which one you can receive money from, which one you like, which one you don't like, which political party you like, which political party you don't like. Honorable Speaker, let me just call for mutual respect. Because I am a Christian, a practicing one, and living as one, I will live by the Bible and according to the Bible. I can read the Bible, I can interpret the Bible, I know what the Bible tells me about giving, I know what the Bible tells me about respect for church leaders. I will respect them, but I also expect them to respect those in authority back. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, let me thank the Honorable Junet for having raised that matter.
Honorable members, I can see that there's a lot of interest, so let's agree that we 3 minutes each. Yeah? Yes, I'll get to you. You'll get a chance. The Honorable Kainan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have a country. The Sovereign Republic of Kenya was born out of the sheer hard work of the great men and women who fought the colonialists. And out of their struggle, they have given us a constitution that we have amended over the years. The latest being the August 2010 constitution, which is one of the most progressive constitutions in Africa. Madam Speaker, we are also lucky as a country that we do not go through militarism. And I think because we are spoiled, because we have not seen the effects of military dictatorship that has engulfed other parts of Africa. Madam Speaker, the framers of the current constitution were not fools when they equate entity, you are a seasoned lawyer, to representation. I want each one of us now to expand our horizon of thinking. Why did the framers of the current constitution equate representation to equity, to sovereignty? The reason is this: God has ordained leadership, and Madam Speaker, and the fathers of democracy. And you remember those old days in Greece where people used to gather together a whole year, agree. Representative democracy, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, is one of the most sought after governance platform in the world, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the presidency has been criminalized. Offensive statements, malicious statements, capricious statements has been used against the president. Madam Speaker, again, let us also remember we have a head of state who doubles also as the head of government. And Madam Speaker, in our own definition, again, within the constitutional architecture, the head of state, the head of government is one with 3 branches. Many people have interpreted this to mean that there are 3 different, conflicting, competing departments. No, we only have one head of state, and that is the person with the instrument of power to govern the Sovereign Republic of Kenya, and that's the president. Let's respect the president. Let's respect the leadership. Madam Speaker, I want to ask my colleagues here, the reason why we are being pushed, I think somehow we have also failed. We need to put our foot down. That newspaper, Madam Speaker, that characterized members in a very negative light for a budget that does not even exist should have been sanctioned by the leadership, Madam Speaker. We have failed. The Speaker should have sanctioned that newspaper either to elaborate or apologize. We have not done it. So we have allowed them to go away with a mistake. To the best of my recollection of what I have gathered, there is no budget for members. That budget that has been alluded to is not even in the current budget. How will you pay for, how do you get paid for something that is not budgeted for? So that was malicious. Madam Speaker, equally also, civility is not a sign of cowardice. The fact that we have restrained ourselves, we want to also add, let us demand for respect. Let us also ask our colleagues on the other side, whether you are in the church, whether you are a trade activist, whether you are in the village, respect is two-way. These members have been elected by the people, graciously, and they fought hard. And therefore, if you don't respect them, luckily, our election cycle is time-bound. It is 5 years. If you think you are the most qualified woman, the most qualified sheikh, the most qualified bishop, wait for 2027, present yourself to the electorate, get elected, come and do what you think is right.
Thank you. Thank you. The Honorable, we agreed 3 minutes so that every member can get a chance.
Justice. You go to a church because you think you cannot be held accountable. You condemn everybody. We are caught in disaster, Madam Speaker. I want to appeal to the leadership of the churches and the mosques and the trade unions and everybody else. It is incumbent upon us to respect ourselves, to respect the leadership, and also to respect those whom you have elected. When time comes, use the power of the ballot to vote them out.